everyone. Welcome to All About the Joy. Rick Costa. Love
What's
that you're
up?
always here. So I sent you a message about what I wanted to talk about today. And look, I'm not saying it has to be the entire conversation, but I do want to talk about some of the tricks that I have or some of the things that I think might help some people with some of the things I'm really, really good at. Okay, Rick, how was your week before we move forward?
Monday was horrible, but every other day was good.
I did tease a little bit about Chris Hemsworth and Brad Pitt, so I made that mistake. But let me explain the gossipy thing. I was working with a bunch of staff people. There was like 5 of us at a conference table, and we were sitting and talking. And we were having this conversation, the topic of Chris Hemsworth. We're all working really hard, clearly, and how good looking they are. And I was just minding my business, not saying a word. And of course, they asked me, and I said, I think Chris Hemsworth is absolutely gorgeous, but he's not sexy. Okay? I know. I think he is stunning, lovely, gorgeous, beautiful, whatever, beautiful family, whatever, but I don't think he's sexy. I think Brad Pitt is sexy. So the whole conversation became, that I was wrong, that they're both sexy in their own way. So that's what the whole gossipy thing was. And then I started saying, because someone said, well, Brad Pitt is a horrible person because of what he did to Angelina Jolie. I was like, do you know him personally? Like, what happened? And they were like, no, I read about it. I'm like, so you read about it in the gossipy, like internet and whatever. So you know for a fact that everything that happened was true. So of course I brought down the whole conversation because it was all light and lovely. But my question to you is, how much do you deal with gossip? How much do you enjoy reading all the gossip, even if you can't verify it?
I don't like gossip. Never have. I've never bought one of those trashy magazines at the supermarket or whatever.
Okay, well, I'm going to call you out on something.
Yeah.
Because this, and I've done this to many people. It's not just you, right? But so when you can't verify something online, but then you forward it anyway, isn't that kind of the same thing?
Well, in the general sense of gossip is like, oh, girl, did you hear? Like, that's how I view gossip.
That's a style, though.
So that's what I'm talking about then. That's the style I don't like.
No. Oh, so my thing is, when I say gossip, I mean spreading untruths or things that you can't verify.
Misinformation.
I don't even know if it's misinformation. I do not know Brad Pitt personally. Not, you know what I mean? I don't know him. I do not know Angelina Jolie at all. I've never sat down with them. I don't even know friends of theirs. You know what I mean? So, Kimberly, oh, come on. Those trashy magazines are just fun to read. Don't mean it's all real, but it's entertainment. It would be, except that then it goes down this thing where people are hating on someone that they don't know, right? So people were trashing on Brad Pitt now because they're like, oh yeah, I forgot what he did to Angelina Jolie. He should have stayed with, what's Rachel's name from Friends or whatever?
Oh, yeah. Jennifer Aniston.
As if she wanted to keep him. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. So the gossipy thing that I was teasing about when I did this was more about, let's be careful. It's not just gossiping what you're talking about, which is old school, right? Hanging out in the neighborhood, trash talking. It's not that. It's when we promote stuff that we can't verify. Whatever it is, whether it's in politics or in the news or about a celebrity. And I think we need to be very careful about that. And it's also how we end up not liking or going to movies or canceling things, right? Because we heard something we can't verify, So anyway, that was all that was about. Okay.
Yeah. To me, it's like, if it ain't none of my business, why are you telling me? Like, it just turns off.
I think it's interesting because we've become these people when it comes to the internet now, because we get all of our stuff from the internet. Kimberly said, good point. Like the
Kardashians. I'm guessing that's Kardashians.
Oh, but is she being funny on purpose?
No, it's
probably Gibbs. Okay, Kardashians. That looks like she said it on purpose. Are trash constantly, but do we really know them? But no, I don't gossip about people. Right. I like the Kardashians because in a way it's funny. You know what I mean? Like, I know she didn't mean it, but I don't know anything about my only thing about the Kardashians and about some other people, like people who become famous for doing absolutely the bare minimum, kill me. You know what I mean? Like that's just, I don't know if that's a jealousy thing on my part or like why, you know? Like,
famous for just living life. Okay.
Yeah, well, it was kind of, who's the woman who's the hotel magnate? Beautiful young girl with blonde hair. I don't know how young she is. It's the hotel, the woman who's the daughter of the...
Oh, Hilton? Paris Hilton?
Yeah, like, I mean, what has she done? You know what I mean? Like, but she's just rich and pretty and whatever. Yep. Oh, I like the Kardashians. Okay, I thought you wrote that like in funniness. You know what I mean? I always tell my niece this. I couldn't pick out a Kardashian if she was standing in front of me. I couldn't. I don't know.
I mean, if I recognize them as a Kardashian, but I don't know their names.
Yeah, I don't. I
remember that one was the one that was married to Kanye, but that's about it. That's all I know. Kanye. I don't even know their names.
Yeah. You know, it's just it's an interesting dynamic. People who become famous, to me, for doing I don't know what. I can't pinpoint it. But bravo to them. You know. You know what? I wish I was famous for doing nothing. Just being me, you know what I mean? That would be fantastic. And when I say famous, I mean be able to pay my bills and do nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And people are willing to watch.
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with that, but I don't like the unkindness. But okay. Yeah, no. So talking about money, that's what I want to talk about. So it's not just money, but I've had several people in the past few weeks give me compliments about a few things. My friend Mia, who I love with all my heart, everyone knows she's one of my best friends. Years ago, she was always saying to me, like, I don't know how you do it. Even when things are bad, you're still okay financially. You still figure out a way. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. And that's happened before. Like people will always say that. So number one, I just want to preface this by saying I don't have children. Right. So you know, people have to understand when you don't have children, I'm only responsible for me. Mm-hmm. So I can take a lot more risks than most other people. So if I'm living penny to penny, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't have nobody else to feed, there is that part of it too. And then of course I have friends who are in the same boat and they still can't make ends meet, right? So I want to share some little tricks of things I know. And I actually still practice these today. And I don't think anyone would call me frugal or cheap or what do people call me? Bougie.
I will freely say I am cheap. Yes, I am.
Are you really?
Ooh, yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm cheap. Oh, yeah.
Okay, wait. What does that mean exactly? Like if you really want to buy something and it costs X amount of dollars, you won't buy it?
I mean, I'm going to find the cheapest possible way. If it takes me a half an hour to find it, I'll do it.
Oh, really? Okay. So see, I'm not that. Like if I want a pair of shoes and those are the pair of shoes and they're out of my price range, I will wait and I will save money, but I'm going to buy them Jimmy Choos. I am not going to go buy knockoffs.
I knew you were going to say Jimmy Choos. I knew it.
Well, before they were bought out, I mean, I don't buy Jimmy Choos anymore because they were sold, but it's just a different quality now. But yeah, well, I love Jimmy Choos. So I am cliche, love shoes. I don't wear heels that much anymore, though I'm going to work that magic soon again. But I have no problem spending $1,000 or $1,500 on a pair of shoes if I want them. And you never need $1,000 or $1,500 pair of shoes, but I'm just saying I don't have a problem with that. But I would never not pay my rent to buy shoes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I would never do anything like that. And also, I love them, and then they keep them forever, so they don't go out of style. You know what I mean? I'm not buying like crazy stuff. But all right, so I just want to give some tips. I just told you why I'm bringing up this subject. So the first one's going to be on ways to save money. It's not going to be a boring conversation. I just want to know if people know this. What are you looking at, Rick? What happened?
No, I'm just looking at the camera, looking at you.
No. I was like, what's going on? Something on my face. Okay. So I think one of the interesting things, and people do this all the time, and I learned this lesson a long time ago. People who have money don't spend money on crap. So you know how people are always spending money on, like, everyone in LA has to have the latest, newest car or the
Right.
latest, newest iPhone, right? I know two people who I work with who had perfectly working iPhones, but they went and bought that new iPhone.
Mm.
And these are people whose salaries I know because I hired them for my client. Are we having feedback issues?
Oh, I have all the settings set up.
No, I'm not saying you, but I think it's me.
Oh, okay.
Are you hearing me? It's okay.
I hear nothing. Yeah. But did they trade the phones in or?
It doesn't matter. They had to pay money to buy. Why do you need a new phone if your other phone's working? It's not free to trade and stuff. They're doing it because they're going to get you to pay more money somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
I'm that way with the phone too.
You buy the new phone?
No. Oh. Opposite. Till it runs down and dies, I'm keeping this forever.
But you don't have an iPhone.
Well, I technically have an old passed down from my son iPhone just for the heck of it, but I
thought you had an Android.
Yeah, mine. This is my Android.
Don't get me wrong. I've spent $1,000 on my phone, but I've had it for 4 years now. You know what I mean? So I always have a Samsung and I always have the good one. But like this one's the Samsung 20. And I think they're already on like S24 or something, because they keep sending you those notices saying, really, we'll upgrade you for free. Because then you're going to make my plan be more money. Right. I know how this works,
Right.
There's also this thing where people buy stuff based on a label as opposed to quality. And so Steve says, no, I'm keeping my iPhone 11 till it dies. That's the way I do it. Yeah. It's got to be broken and dying or not working. Something's got to not be working.
Funny that this came up today because remember I told you this phone that I just got, literally, so this was my phone, the old one, and then this is the new one, that this literally died on the same day that I finally backed everything up to this phone. So today I said, let me plug it in again. Maybe it was a weird fluke because it won't turn on. So I plugged it in.
So it's gone.
It still won't.
Yeah, it's dead.
It's dead.
Yeah. I mean, again, I just said I would spend $1,500 on a pair of shoes. So I'm not balking at anybody who spends money on iPhones. I'm just saying if you don't need it, I'm never going to buy a pair of shoes. You don't need a $1,500 pair of shoes. Nobody. I don't care how rich you is,
right.
But one of the things that's happened as I've worked for over 25 years for extremely wealthy people, both people who've made their money or people who have just old oil money, right? I've seen it all. And what I realize is that it's only poor working folk who care about labels. When you have actual money, you don't need to be bling blinging it all over the place. You don't need to be proving that you have money.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. So someone said to me like, ooh, you're always wearing t-shirts. Where do you get your t-shirts? Are they James Pierce or James Purse, I guess is how you say it. Those are like, those t-shirts are like $300-400 a piece. And I've had them in the past when I had to go into work, when I worked for a design company, you dress the part, you do what you got to do. But no, I wear Gap t-shirts. You know what I mean? Like I love Gap t-shirts. They're like $30. They're fine, So I think that's one of the things that is probably the biggest saver of money for me is that I'm never chasing the latest thing, and I've said it a million times. I've had the same car for 20 years,
Right.
And that's a big deal in LA. In LA,
awesome.
You do not keep the same car for 20 years.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think the first time I even realized like labels were a thing was like in high school because they were like, what brand of jeans is that or something? I was like, I don't know.
Oh no, we all wanted. I wanted remember it was like I was going to say Gloria Estefan, but it's not that. Remember Gloria Vanderbilt jeans? I wanted those ones or the Jordache. Do you remember Jordache?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's being a teenager though, and back then labels were a thing. I mean,
I didn't know it was even because I didn't care.
I knew because everybody had them and I didn't, and I wanted them so bad. I wanted my Nike sneakers, and I eventually got them. But it's kind of like that's different when you were a teenager. That's a different ballgame. I mean, teaching that. The weird thing is Gen Z isn't like that now. Gen Z is the complete opposite. They don't want labels. It's just I appreciate that they've figured it out much quicker. You know what I mean than the rest of us, but. So that's probably the biggest saver of money for me. Like I'm not hooked on brands at all. Yeah, it's all about quality. That doesn't mean cheap stuff. It doesn't mean buying cheap stuff. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. The other one that I think is really important is people get so messed up about coupons. So I'm going to talk about coupons because I think that's the biggest one. And during kind of when things were really bad, 2009, when the economy dipped down, this was kind of like where I really did my best with the whole, people get confused about coupons, and you can do digital coupons. I still use coupons today, and I make plenty of money to turn around and buy whatever I want at the grocery store. But like anything, once it becomes a habit, you just do it. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem with coupons. When you get coupons in the mail or even the digital ones, the mistake people make is they clip things they don't need. Use a coupon of something you've never bought. And if it's not the name brand that you buy, do not buy it, because that leads you to more coupons from that brand name. Like if you don't buy Johnson & Johnson baby oil or something, right, but you're like, oh, look at a coupon, $1 off. Now you're going to get coupons from Johnson & Johnson for everything, and then you're going to get sucked into buying more stuffage. Right. It's just, you know what I mean? So Steven says, my mom loves saving money. Like she will argue with an employee over a $5 coupon. Okay, but that's wasting your energy. See, I won't do that.
I'll never forget, I was at the supermarket, and this lady was in front of me, and she had maybe like 3 bags worth of stuff. And then she pulls out all these coupons. I'm like, oh, no, we going to be.
That's me. And then she ends up paying $2.50.
No. They ended up, it was negative. They gave her money. I was like, you walked out of here with all that stuff and got money?
Go ahead, girl.
I need to find out about this. What?
I ain't mad at you. Every time somebody pulls out coupons, I'm like, take your time. Go ahead. Because you worked hard to collect them all and you're doing your due justice. You know. Now, I really like digital coupons, and I only use the coupons that are cash, right? So the ones that are like $2 off of something, you know, not like, oh, if you buy 5. Like that's the other thing too. So this is the other one on the list. I said this before. I don't need 35 rolls of toilet paper. I am one person. Right. So that's not really saving me money, because then what is it going to do? It's going to be sitting in a box in my little apartment, annoying me in my
10
space.
Years.
Yeah, I know, right? For 10 years. Let's have an accident or something. I don't know. But you don't need to do that either, because you also want to save your space and your energy, and you want things to be aesthetically pleasing. So you got to think smart, you know? Nobody needs warehouse stuff. But I know the whole coupon thing, people don't like to do it, but it's free money.
It is.
And once you get into a habit of it, it really is just easy. Like it comes in the mail from my grocery store. I clip all the ones I know I don't need because I've never bought those before and I know the trick. They'll start sending me all that crap. And also, if you've never eaten that before, why do you need to start all over? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of the easiest tricks too is whenever you go to the grocery store, I only have 2 more things about grocery stores, but they're important. Always go with a list and never deviate from the list.
So like I said, I never leave the house because of mine.
Right, you order in. Right.
Everything's delivery. So on my grocery store, they have an awesome thing, which I don't know if everybody has it. Maybe they do, and I just don't know. But it has a thing where click what you bought before, and I just go by that list. I don't look at nothing new, nothing whatever. And sometimes it'll be the 2 of the same thing but the different size. One has a coupon, one doesn't. I'm gonna go with the one with the coupon.
The thing about delivery, and I know you have to, whatever. The way they make money on delivery is not just by the delivery amount, but and because I am crazy about trying to save money, I did a comparison when I had groceries delivered, because I always have the same things. And then I went to the store. They up everything by like 50 cents or $1 and when it's delivered. And that is what angers me about it. It's not fair if you're paying also a delivery price. So you should use your coupons, because that's how they're making their money. So if I buy baby, clearly Carmen uses Johnson's baby oil on her skin after showering, because I keep bringing it up. But that, that might cost $3.99, right, in the store, but then they're going to charge you $4.99. What's Uber Eats?
Uber Eats?
Uber Eats.
Oh, Eats.
Uber Eats. Right.
DoorDash sometimes.
DoorDash. Yeah.
Once in a while. If I'm stressed out, whatever, I don't want to cook, I'll just go, I'm getting DoorDash today.
Yeah, here's the thing. I eat out all the time. I'm not trying to say, I think if you're doing it to the extent that you're stressing yourself out to save money, then you're doing it wrong. Like, I'm just saying use it in a casual way so that you can look at, I save about $800 a month on my little tricks that I do. $800 a month is quite
That's
a bit
really
of
good.
money,
Yeah.
And it's only because, like, if people don't know, I handle money for a living for my clients. So I'm basically a glorified bookkeeper, but I'm really good with money. So that's the other part of it, right? I know every penny I spend. The other thing, this is something most of you already know, but just in case someone out there doesn't know, when you walk in the grocery store, everything that is eye level is something they're trying to sell you. So everything that is, when you're looking at shelves, that's not the stuff you usually buy. The stuff you usually buy is either way on top or on the bottom, right? Because they're trying to sell you something all the time. So be careful of that. Always look for what you came in to get. Bread. People are always consumed with the color of the bread tag, right? If it's a yellow, it's a Monday. If it's a blue, none of that. Always get your bread. This has nothing to do with saving money. People, this is about getting your freshest bread if you're not going to a bakery, which I don't do bakery bread because whatever. It's just me. Your bread is in the front, right? Always reach to the back. The freshest bread is always in the back of the shelf. So always grab that. That's just a little trick. You don't
No,
have to
I've done that. I've done that.
I always do. And like people get mad at me because like they'll be waiting for me to move. And I'm like, I need to get the freshest. I know where it is. And then I'll leave and they're doing the same thing because they realize, And the reason why I know that is because I asked the bread guy when he came one day. I was like, which is what color tag? He's like, it's not the tag. He was like, don't worry about the tag.
Because they have to put the older stuff in the front to get rid of it so it doesn't go bad. Obviously. I mean, that makes sense.
That's right.
But when I did go physically shopping, I did have a list. And I just went by the list. I wasn't looking at nothing else. Where's this? Boom, go straight.
Well, I mean, digitally now it's very different. You don't have to have I have my list on my phone too. You know what I mean? I'm just saying don't deviate because, you should always eat before you go to the grocery store too because we can buy more stuff when we're hungry, right? So I always eat something before I go to the grocery store because I know how I am. All of a sudden, I need chocolate cake. I need ice cream. I didn't need none of that. I was supposed to be going there to get some eggs. You know what I mean? And don't
donuts, Stephen.
What?
Where Steven gets his donuts, probably.
Oh, donuts, yeah.
Same with milk. Freshness is in the back. Yes.
You know what? I haven't bought milk in so long. And I'm not against dairy. I love cheese. I drink almond milk now. But I think it's the same concept, It's always going to be the freshest if it's in the back for sure. Yeah. So those are some of my things on saving money. Do you have some? You kind of already shared what you were talking about.
I mean, there's one thing that I use. I have these browser plugins, I think they're called, and I have several of them. And if I go to a site, it automatically pops up and says, we have a coupon code. Do you want to try it?
Like Capital One has that.
I have that one. Yep. I have Honey. There's one called Honey.
Yep.
There's several of them. Yep. And it automatically tries the code for me. I don't even have to type anything. Right. And a lot of times it saved me $10, $20. I'm like, hey, that's $20 is $20. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is a great thing to do. I have a Capital One credit card, so that's why I use that one. I get worried sometimes though too, because then they start sending you emails. You have to, or text messages. So you have to make sure you put stop to that. You know what I mean? Because then it's just getting annoying. But yeah, those are great. I always use those when I'm shopping online for like clothes. Like if I'm buying socks or if I'm buying something, because you can always get these codes and you're right, you don't have to do anything. You just have to show up on the website and then it automatically goes from your browser. The only one I use is Capital One. What did you called one Honey?
One's called Honey. There's a bunch of them, actually. I found even more. But
okay.
Capital One and Honey usually cover it. Coupon Birds. I'm looking at my computer now. Deal Drop. Retail Me Not.
Rick is all over it. Spend no money. So you're like the woman at the cashier who's like,
I wish I was like that woman at the cashier.
Oh yeah.
Well, with Amazon, what I would do is, so if I'm looking up, I don't know, make up something, vitamin C, whatever, just make up whatever, and that gives you a whole list of all this stuff. Well, if you look, it'll tell you the price per each, whatever it is. So it could be like 11 cents, 12 cents, 15 cents. So I scroll down the whole thing until I find the cheapest one. As long as it doesn't look like it's a crappy product, then I'll be like, all right, there it is. That's what I'm going to get, the cheapest one.
Well, see, and so I'm a little bit against buying the cheapest thing. Because if it's something you want that is, like, I'm not going to buy cheap cream for my face. I'm gonna buy the
Oh,
cream I
no.
use. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, like depending on what it is. But I would also stay away from as many subscriptions as possible, because here's what I noticed for me. If I have, and this is more bulk stuff, like if I buy 3 things of my cream, right? Because I'm like, let me
Mhm.
just buy it in bulk because it's gonna be cheaper. So if you have all your cream and you don't do your due diligence to get all the cream out of the one you have because you know you have a second one, so you throw it out. But when I only have one, I'm in there scraping, I'm like
Mhm.
pushing it through. I'm like, whatever. And sometimes there's a lot left over.
Yeah.
So you
It's
have to
true.
be very careful. Same thing with hand soap or whatever. Like
Mhm.
I try only have like my whole thing is like I buy one and I buy 2, and then when one is done, I replace the other one.
That's what I do. That's
You know
what
what
I
I mean?
do.
I don't buy in bulk so much.
That's what I do. Everything in this house. When I always have, when one's out, there's already another one ready for
But then
when
that's
it
when you
runs
know to
out.
order the next
And
one.
that's when I order another one. Yep. I've done that for years and years. My mom's like, we ran out of cream cheese. I was like, look at the
No, we
drawer in the
didn't.
bottom of the kitchen in the refrigerator, and you're gonna see
It's
another
right
one.
there. Right. Yeah, no, I think these are small little things, but all of these things add up.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying people have to run around with coupons or whatever, but I think the other part of it too is being good about subscriptions. Do you think Amazon Prime is worth it? They keep increasing prices. So I'm going to tell you the truth, Steven, I'm sorry. I got rid of Amazon Prime 3 years ago. And that's kind of, that was the thing on the list. The reason why is because for me, it wasn't worth it. I don't use it all the time. In order for Amazon Prime at $119 a year, I think that's what it was when I was paying for it, to be worth it, you have to at least at minimum, order at least, I think it was 12 to 15 times a year, which I did not. So if you order on there and you use their music and use their whatever other things that they have like, I don't know what they have, like Grubhub, you can use that for 6 months for free or something, the delivery there. Like if you use all of that stuff, then it might be worth it. But I don't use Amazon Prime at all. And also all my other subscription, Rick knows. Rick was like, oh, you have to watch this show on Paramount. I got Paramount for 3 months, got rid of it. Like I haven't, because you keep paying for all of these things, whether you're watching it or not.
Yeah. I just heard somebody yesterday say, oh yeah, if there's a show I really want to watch, I'll get it, binge it, and then I cancel it.
Yeah. Well, you just have to be good about it because they automatically do it on your credit card. So I have one credit card for all my subscriptions. So it's really easy, right? I use that credit card and then I make sure I go in like once a month to see which ones I have to. Now I know I handle money for a living, so it's a little bit crazier. But if you're going to do that, if you're going to get subscriptions to everything, you should be at least watching that once or twice a week. Because if not, you're just throwing money away. That is like, and it's a lot of money.
It is.
Hulu, Disney, Paramount, Amazon, Apple.
You got to think for the year, not like whatever it is month by month. Think of it for the year. For that whole year, then it adds up. I fortunately have Amazon Prime through my brother, so I don't pay anything.
Well, that's the other thing people should do is share. Yeah. They don't want to hear that though. They don't want to hear that, right? Yeah. No, not they. I mean, Amazon doesn't want to hear that you're sharing it.
But sorry, I do use Amazon a lot, but again, because I'm stuck here, I have to have everything delivered. So I actually use it a lot. But it's nice too.
You shouldn't. I'm just saying for people who don't use it, like me, don't pay for it.
Yeah. And, it is nice to be able to get something in 1 or 2 days instead of waiting for a week. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of nice.
Look at there. I think you're absolutely right. I also am trying to be better about, and you can't do this because your situation, but I also am trying to be better about supporting local shops or being in the neighborhood or talking to people or using it as an excuse to walk to the store. I went today to Ulta, which is not a mom and pop store at all. But I went today and I bought some foundation, Fenty, fabulous. I feel like my skin is shining. But Rihanna's, I'd never used it before. So good. But I walked up there. And it was just kind of nice, where I could have just ordered it online and had it delivered. But so I kind of use that as a whole kind of exercise excuse too, to make sure I get out of the house and do things and get out of the office. And
I just thought of another one too, is like I used to do it more, but Cash App, and that's not only Cash App, I think probably PayPal, Venmo, whatever. They call it a boost. And so it has certain stores, and you turn on the boost for that store, and you get like 10% off, 20% off,
Right.
whatever the boost is for that week. And then you just use that credit card and you get money off just for
Right.
doing the boost. You
Oh,
just
so
click
you
the
have a
button.
credit card with Cash App? Oh, no. Oh, you mean
It's a debit. It's a debit, but
I got it. Okay. Steve said, I think I just need to work more. And then the other thing I'll say, which look at all the other stuff everybody knows, you should have 3 months worth of money saved up in case you lose your job. Like, that's really hard for people to do, you know? Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I used to,
everyone
but
used
now,
to. No, after COVID, that's a whole other ball game.
Hmm.
Now it's too hard.
I just heard this the other day that they were saying people that make triple digits have gone through their savings now, and they don't even have savings. I'm like, wow.
I read the same article. It's people making over $100,000 a year still are living paycheck to paycheck. I'm going to go back to Tony and Brian when they were making fun of me for the hotels I stay at, or that I was suggesting to them. Again, that's like, those are the things I spend money on, but those are the things I spend money on because I don't have children.
Right.
And I'm not trying to say that, you know, having children is the issue. I'm just saying when you're comparing yourself to other people, remember, you don't know other people's isms. You don't know what else they're dealing with,
Right.
you know?
We're not saying if you want to be rich, don't have kids. We're not saying that.
I am not saying that at all. One last thing about money. Money is just a thing. And I know people, I've said this before, I know people who are extremely wealthy. I work with people who have so much money. I think they are the most saddest, angriest, most miserable people on a daily basis. And I know people who are poor or working or hard, you know, like blue collar, regular people. Mm-hmm. And even though there's the struggle and there's sadness sometimes not being able to pay your bill or do what you got to do, much happier, much more sane, much more realistic about things. That's not to say that all rich people or all poor people. I'm just saying in my experience, and I've been doing this for so long now, I feel very comfortable admitting that I think some of the people that are the hardest working people, if they were given an abundance of money, would do a much better job of handling it. I'm not saying the lottery type of thing. I'm saying, like, let's say, like, you know, this show blows up or something and we're getting an abundance of money and we're doing well or whatever. We'd be able to handle it, I think, a little bit better, also because we're older. But some people who, like, born into money that I worked for, or people who made their money and made millions really, really fast, and they just went through so much trauma before they got on an even keel, you know, and have just as many issues. And we've all heard the cliche that money doesn't make you happy. It doesn't, but it does give you a whole hell of a lot more choices. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
You know? Can we talk about how hard it is to find a job with a college degree nowadays? We can.
I was saying, to go back what you were just saying before we switched to that, I was just saying to somebody yesterday, I was like, I heard that somebody, they were like, oh, her net worth is $26 billion. I was like, why does one person need $26 billion?
Right.
Why?
Who was that? That must be someone.
I can't remember who it was.
It must be maybe the Spanx lady. 26 billion is actually, I don't think it would be her. So look, that's our capitalist system, right? I don't know if it makes life easier, but not. So Sweet Pea, Leslie, I would actually say I don't think it makes life easier. What people don't understand about money is, you know what? I'm going to give you an example. It's not that it makes life easier. It actually makes it much more complicated, because when you have this much money, a lot of my clients that I've had in the past, they were so worried about who their friends were because they started questioning why people wanted to hang out with them. And I don't mean in a little way. I mean anybody who would call them, anybody who would try to network with them, anybody who would try to have dinner with them, anybody, even their friends they'd had for a long time who have just as much money as they do, you know, like, because with money comes some power, right? So now it's not even about money. So if you and your other person are making millions of dollars and you're both doing well and you've been friends since high school, now it's about who has more power. So it's an interesting dynamic to watch these people fight about now power. It's a next level thing.
Yeah.
So money doesn't make life easier. it just gives you more choices. I think that's really important to understand. Going back to what Stephen was talking about, a college degree is not what it used to be.
Right.
It just doesn't mean the same as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And in this day and age of the internet and social media and content creators and people who can make money doing things technically online or on the internet, I want to encourage people to go to college and get a degree. I'm not trying to say people should not. For me, it was life-saving. Patty Corcoran, who was on earlier, was one of the people that when I was in college was my saving grace, because I was someone who should have probably never been going to college. I wasn't ready for it. And she helped walk me through it, you know? But a college degree nowadays isn't enough to secure a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you're older. I'm sorry, right?
Certain things you kind of have to, like medical. If you want to be a doctor or nurse, you kind of have.
Well, that's not a college degree.
I'm saying you can't.
We're in doctorate level.
But you can't avoid, college education for stuff like that.
Well, here's the thing about a degree, and this is why I think a degree is really important. And do not regret getting a degree. When you get your degree, it's like anything else in life. You've learned something. It wasn't just the degree in psychology. It was the experience in getting that degree that makes you a better person. Education and learning is never a waste of money. Yeah. And I'm never going to regret my degree from the University of Vermont, because the people I met, the person I've become, all the things I learned while I was there, all the friends I made, all the family I made. Don't do that to yourself. Don't sit in regret. That's not going to help you at all.
And you never know if you could use it later.
No, he's using it now. He's doing critical thinking. You always use your degree. That's what I'm saying. Education. Ted Hicks, Carmen Rick, business administration. I moved over to IT. I opted not to be an accountant. Best decision I ever made. Yes. Yeah, because IT is the thing. Stephen, if you haven't decided yet, maybe you'd be interested in IT. There are certain jobs, like, and no offense, accounting and bookkeeping. Here's the reason why I keep my job, because don't matter what's happening in the world, rich people always need people handling their money. It's very hard to write your own bills. But jobs like being an IT person, electrician, those jobs are never going to go out of style.
Or now the hot thing, AI. Not a lot of people know a whole lot about AI. So
I know, and you got to be open to that. And right now is the time to just start learning. I think there are Google classes that are for free to learn about AI. That might be something you're interested in, Stephen. I don't know. Ooh, this is such an interesting conversation. We were talking about money, but talk about making more money. Yeah. You know what? Try not to be negative about I know it's easy for me to say right now, but I was in the same boat back in 2008. I lost my home, I didn't have a job. It was hard times right during the economic downturn. It was really tough to get a job. I couldn't get a job for like 3 years. 3 years. I was doing odds and ends. I cleaned out this woman's garage for like $1,000. I was just putting myself out there doing, and I changed every resume. I'm like, I am an organizational, whatever. I forget what I wrote. I made it some major thing. I was organizing people's stuff, Stephen, I felt pressured to go to college after high school and I didn't know what to study. That's why I chose psych. That's okay. You're not supposed to know what to study. I didn't know either. I was an economics major, which I can't believe I was economics major for a minute. I was poli-sci major, political science. I ended up not knowing for so long. I then became a film and English major. So, because I had so many credits in English, and then I was doing a minor in film. So, yeah, don't beat yourself up for the good thing that you did, which was become a smarter, more evolved human being. Don't ever do that to yourself. Yeah. By the way, can I finish this off this way? Money ain't nothing but a thing. So whether you have money or you don't have money, it does not define who you are. You are in a situation right now where you need to pull yourself out of a situation. That's okay. That's the journey we're all on in life. And we've all been there at some point or another. And if you haven't, then you're not doing life right. You know what I mean? So see the blessing in it. It's a tough time for you. I'm not trying to minimize that. But you're going to get to wherever it is you need to be. Trust in that. and
Mhm.
be positive and joyful about who you are. And look at your critical thinking just in this stream alone. You're doing like, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, I'm analyzing why I did that. That's all critical thinking. That's all
Mhm.
great stuff.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be fine. And your mom cares about you, right? That's what moms are supposed to do. So she worried about you. She gonna
Yeah.
ask her questions. Everybody's gonna ask their questions. You keep true to you. Keep true to you.
Yeah.
You're gonna be fine.
Yeah. Because ultimately, you have to be happy. Like, if you're rich and unhappy, that sucks.
I know so many people, rich and unhappy. And when I say unhappy, I mean they have all the stuff they could need and they still complaining, miserable. Their kids hate them. Their kids are on drugs.
Mhm.
I cannot, I'm generalizing, but that experience I've had with wealthy people is a normal thing. I cannot tell you how many kids of the people I've worked for who are older hate their parents. And I don't mean like, mommy, I hate you. You did it. I mean like they're not talking to them and they're like 15. You know what I mean? Like they've moved to another country because they can. You know what I mean? It's weird. So I know no one believes me. I would not trade my life. Andrea and I talk about this all the time because Andrea's had the same clients I've had. Like we've worked for the same people. We would never, ever trade our lives for any of the people we've worked for. I am telling you on my mother's grave, I would not trade. I would rather go back. I swear to you. And I'm saying this with love and kindness to give some people some hope on there. A lot of you know that as a kid, I had a really tough time. I would rather go back and have to live through that again than live any life of the rich people I've worked for. It's just, life is not about money. And the reason why we are obsessed with money is because it's marketed to us all the time. It's pressured to us all the time. And we think what we don't have, our life would be better if we had it all. You know what I mean?
I've heard more than one person say they've been a millionaire and then they lost everything. And then they became a millionaire again. And then they lost everything again. And then they became a millionaire again. And they're like, money's just a thing.
Well, look at lottery people are a great example. People who win the lottery, just do a little Google search. What happened to people who win the lottery? A lot of people who win the lottery end up wishing they never did. Because you got to be able to know how to handle money.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you is anybody here listening, if you win the lottery, call me. I'm going to hook you up. Okay. I'm going to help you. But seriously, look, I know I'm kind of different on this. It's not that I hate money. I love that no matter what kind of money I have, whether I have it or I don't have it, I love that no matter what situation I've ever been in, I'm going to tell you when I have money and I'm going to tell you when I don't have money. And I'm going to treat you exactly the same way, whether I have it or not. And I'm telling you, the only reason why I'm like that is because I've been working so long in this town and I've seen how money changes people. People become so paranoid. People become so questioning of their own self-worth. Like, do they like me because I have money? Or do they? I'm like, why would you even question that? Okay, I'm going to tell a little story. So I had this client once. I think I said this before. She has since passed away. But I had a client once who we met at Barney's. I told the story before because that's where we had to meet to do some work. And she wanted to meet there because she was shopping or whatever. And we were eating popovers. That was a thing. I guess it still is. And I went to go to the bathroom. And what I did was I paid for lunch. Right? I wanted to just pay for lunch and be nice with her because she was always, paying for everything, whatever. And when I came back to the table, she asked the waitress, I think it was a waiter, the waiter, if she could have the check or whatever because we had to go. And he was like, oh, it was all taken care of. And she would look, this is how crazy she was. She was looking around. She was looking to see if one of her friends had paid it because her lowly little PA assistant would have never paid it. You know what I mean? And I was like, I paid it. She got upset about it.
Really?
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I'm like, because you always pay for everything. Like, right. I just want to do something nice. I just want to be. It was really hard for her to take it. She thought I wanted something from her. Are you going to ask me for I mean, look at me and Arlene. Arlene has since passed away, so I don't mind saying her name. She was a wonderful woman. And we became pretty close after a couple, near the end of her life. And Andrea knows her too, knew her as well too. And she was a lovely lady. But one of the things that was interesting about her is that she talked about the things that she regretted in her life. Mm-hmm. And the things she regretted in her life was she always had nannies for her kids. You know what I mean? She was always doing nonprofit stuff, or she was always out doing stuff, and she wasn't around for her kids. And she would say things like, the way in which you talk about your mother, I don't think my kids will ever talk about me that way. Mm. Like, it's an interesting thing. Like, now I know her kids love her or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, right. But it's just an interesting thing to see someone who is so powerful and has so much money and is doing such good in the world. Like, she gave her money away to people all the time. She had a nonprofit, and but still in the inside, she was not happy.
Right. It's an interesting thing too, is like they've done studies, I guess, of people on their deathbed, and what are their last things that they say? And they say almost every time, I wish I spent more time with my family.
Well, you don't even have to do a thing. It's kind of like, who have you ever known to die who's like, oh, I wish I bought a yacht instead of a sailboat.
I wish I climbed Mount Everest.
Right? At the end of the day, money matters because of the society we live in, but work really hard not to define it. And what that means is don't feel bad about it and don't feel overly good about it. It is a tool. It is a thing we need. Don't have emotional connections to money. When you get a lot of money, you get a bonus. I'm not saying don't be happy. We'd all be a little happy if we got a little extra money, but you got to put it in perspective, right? It's a tool. So how can you use that tool to the best of your ability to make it grow, to move it forward? Don't go and spend it crazy. That's what everybody does when they get a lot of money. They go spend it on crazy stuff.
Now I can finally buy fill in the blank, whatever. Mm-hmm.
If you couldn't buy that thing with the money you had before, you shouldn't be buying it when you got a little bonus money. You know what I mean? And that's not being mean. That's being like, if it's just a little bit of bonus money, you got to try to figure out a way to make more money with that, or put a little bit aside. So you have a little security, Mm-hmm. Steven said, yeah, I try to really make the most of the time I spend with my that's the beautiful thing right there. I'm telling you, time is your wealth.
Yeah.
Family, friends, that's your wealth. Mm-hmm. If you got that, I went out one time with this guy. We weren't dating. He was much older than I was, but I went out and met him for lunch. It was like a 2-hour drive down to San Diego, whatever. Extremely wealthy man on CNBC. He's somebody who talks all the time about money, about the stock market, whatever. And we were collaborating on a project together. So I drove down to actually meet him face to face. And we were sitting there, and I was like, yeah, but how did you make all that money? And he was sitting there, with his drink. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning or 12, you know what I mean? Like with a drink, and we're in a bar. He wanted to meet at a restaurant. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm giving you some hints here about drinking at 11 o'clock. And he was like, you'll make money, Carmen. Don't worry about it. Keep all the other things you have, your reputation, your friends. He's like, I know all the people you work with. It's like, you have I was like, yeah, but how did you, I wanted to know, how did you make all this money? And he was like, I would give it all up to have what you have. And I was like, okay then. And every time I see him on CNBC, I always remember that.
Yeah, that's a drop the mic moment.
Yeah. So is Ted on right now? We should jump off so we can go visit him. That's the goal. I'm glad we talked about this a little bit. I hope it helps some people. And at the very least, I hope people understand that you'll have money, you won't have money, but you still want to be your best authentic self. And that's what you should be working on every day. Every day. Yeah.
Ted is not on, by the way.
Why not? Did he text me to tell me?
I mean, I don't think doesn't usually go on exactly, at the top of the hour.
I know. Look at me. I'm always thinking I am messing up his show or something. You know what I mean? So.
But yeah, money definitely, I mean, it's nice to have, but if you're looking for it to make you happy, you're looking in the wrong place.
Yeah. we all want money. I'm not trying to say we don't want money, but it's not going to determine whether or not I'm happy or not. If I had more money today, let's talk about that for a minute. If he's not on, we can stay on a little bit longer because I feel like I'm having a lot of edits. Steve, I got to go take care of everyone. Thanks for your wise words. Hey, Steven, thank you so much. I'm so glad you were here. And honestly, if I can help you in any way, DM me. I don't mean money wise. I know you know what I mean, but like resume, or if you want to talk privately, this is what I do for a living. I manage people, so maybe I can help you. And I'm not going to charge you nothing. That's not how I do it. But I'm just saying, if I can help with your resume or anything like that, please let me know. Happy to help in any way I can. That's the best I can do. What was I saying? I forgot what I just said. Oh, I know what I said. If I had a lot of money right now, or even like if I had an extra, let's say $3,000 a month, that's a lot. If I had an extra, I would just hire someone to do edits. Like I already talked to somebody. I don't have the money to pay him, but he would be so worth it to do all the clips, the editing for the podcast. Because I'm after this, I download it, and then Friday morning I'm up trying to edit for the audio, and then Saturday, Sunday I'm sitting here doing the clips, putting it on social media. Then I'm trying to answer any and all emails or whatever, and I'm just trying to really come up with it. And as much as I love Gary Vee, and he's like, you got to do the hustle, I'm tired.
It's a lot of work. It's time consuming. It's time consuming. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to make this happen. Oh, thanks, Leslie. But yeah, so like if you had an abundance of money, if somebody said, Rick, we have an extra $3,000 a month for you for the next year, what would you do with it?
Honestly, I have a lot of debt. I'd probably put it towards that.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Because if I could be debt free,
debt free is a thing. And let me tell you, I've been there too. I've been there in the past with all the collection calls.
Leslie,
I'm not mad. I'm just messing with you, girl. I love you. Come on. I'm not mad. That's me getting mad. That's about as mad as I get. You know what? Look at I had debt. Everyone's had debt. The richest people I know have a lot of debt, right? That always kills me. I remember talking to Andrea one time being like, this is how rich people have money. They borrow from Peter. They pay Paul. They make a profit off of Paul. And then they sell it. Like what is this?
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people say like, it's not like they have all that money in the bank. It's on paper.
Yeah. It's all like they're loaning and refinancing and whatever. So, but the thing about being in debt is that you can always get out of debt. So you shouldn't feel bad about being in debt. We got to do what we got to do. That's part of this capitalist society we live in, The only thing I would say is that people, be careful of credit cards. If you can pay off your credit cards as much as possible every month. It took me a long time. I only have 2 credit cards. And people always trying to give me more credit cards. I'm like, that's good. It's all good. Thank you. No, like I go to the Gap to buy my t-shirts. You could get 20% off and get a credit card. No, like, because they want you to get a credit card and they try to hook you in with the 20% off of whatever you're buying. Right. But what ends up happening is you end up buying more and then you're paying 27 or 28%. On a credit card that you didn't need to begin with, and you're paying a yearly fee to have it or whatever. No.
I just, maybe 2 weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I don't even not remember, but I wasn't sure, like, what is the percentage on the credit cards? I don't even know. Like, I'm still thinking it was like from way back in the day. And I'm like, most of them are like up to 29. I'm like,
oh, it's crazy.
29? When did this happen?
It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, that's why if you can, look, it's easy for me to say, but when you get your stuff cleared up, right? When anyone gets your stuff cleared up, by the way, do not worry about your credit score. Do not worry about your credit rating. Because let me tell you, one of the first things I did when I got into this business, I was asked to clean up my boss's credit rating. When you have money, all you got to do is use that money to clean up. You can clean up your credit rating like that when you have money. You just call those collection things, you pay them the bill, they go in, they fix your credit rating, and all of a sudden you had like a 5 something. All of a sudden he had almost 800 in like a week. Okay, maybe 3 weeks. And I was like, see, that's just a lot. Because his father gave him money to right. So it's like, wait a minute, we over here stressing. No, okay, now. Like if you don't have a great credit report or a great credit rating, that's okay. You're going to work on it and fix it. But again, do not let it define who you are.
Right.
Okay. Do not let it, when someone says, no, you can't take out a loan because your credit ain't good, say, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Move on. That's not someone you want to do business with,
Right.
because all of that is a facade.
I don't think you should think of yourself as less because your credit score is not enough. Like, what? Nah.
Your credit score ain't nothing but a thing. And it drives me insane because they make billions of dollars trying to scare people like, ooh, you should buy this. Like, I don't know, what is it? Norton Lock or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
All of these things, you don't need none of that. You don't need any of that. Let me tell you what I do. You want to protect your credit rating and your credit scores. All you need to do is go to the 3 credit rating places, and I'm not going to remember off the top of my head, but it's like TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Okay, go to those 3. You can go to the websites now. Go to them and tell them that you want to lock them. Okay, they will freeze them or lock them, which means nobody can go in and try to get a loan against, like, so if somebody steals your social security number, for example, and they try to take a loan out, they're not going to be able to go and get a loan because they can't, your credit report will be locked. My credit report has been locked since, like, I don't know, 2000, whenever they started doing it, all 3 of them. Now you're probably wondering, yeah, but what if you get an apartment and the landlord needs to check your credit report? And now it's so much easier. Before I had to call 3 days beforehand, you know what I mean? And I just did this gesture, which lets you know it was before cell phones, right? As opposed to this. All you have to do is go online and unfreeze it, and you can unfreeze it for whatever days you need to. And each one is a little bit different, but it's like instantaneous. So like when I got this apartment 3 years ago, whenever it was during COVID, my landlord's like, yes, I'm going to have to look at your credit report. I said, okay, great. Which one? Like you can even ask him. He's like, TransUnion. I said, great. I opened it and he was able to go look, and then it closed again. So you can try to steal my stuff, but you're not going to get a loan. You're not going to, nothing, because it's going to say you need to unlock your blah, blah. So you don't need all of those $15 a month things. They're making so much money scaring people half to death. Also, if you have a credit card, you can look up your credit score for free usually on any credit card nowadays because they offer that. But still, don't let that define you. Don't let that.
And even the credit and debits too, you can lock those too temporarily. Like I know some people that say they always have it locked, and when they make a purchase, they unlock when it's done, they lock it again.
But that's your credit and debit card, right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. So your credit cards, if somebody steals your credit cards, I think you're only responsible for like the first $50. You should never really use your debit card if you don't have to, because that's taking money out of your bank account. And even though most banks will try to get the money back for you, that's your live cash. You don't know how long that's going to take. So I always advocate, even if you can't get a credit card because of your credit rating or whatever, you could definitely get one of those credit cards at the store and put money in there, because if that gets stolen, it's only the money in there. It's not your checking account, and it's not your savings account, or it's not whatever any other account you may or may not have. So, man, I did not know we were going to talk about these.
It's Finance Day.
It's Finance Day on All About the Joy. Look, this is what I do for a living, unfortunately, and I hate it. It's not going to be what I do for a living anymore. But I will always help people because I had to learn about money the hard way. And let me tell you, the richest people I know who are friends, okay, some of them are the cheapest people I've ever met. And like they're not like, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like money is such a big deal to them that when you actually go to that person and ask them for money, they're all of a sudden like, oh, I ain't got no money. I'm like, oh, I know what you drive. I know how much money you got, and you just did that to me. You're out. You're done. And that's how I know when money defines you or defines your relationships, you're not somebody I want in my life.
Right.
No way. Yeah. Wow, we didn't even get to my other subjects. I was going to teach you about how to save on time.
I keep checking on Ted. He's not on. So.
No, that's okay. We don't have to check on him. I don't know when he's probably going to go. Maybe he's waiting to go later. But this is getting now to the 1:30 mark. So we should probably jump off. But I did not realize this would be so interesting.
It always is.
It's because I hate it so much, right? I hate doing it.
That's funny. We'll do time management next time, I guess.
Well, I don't look. I'm not trying to be boring. It's just because so many people. You know what I mean? It's just a weird time, like what Stephen was talking about. You know what I mean? It is a tough time. People are having a hard time, and I'm happy to help when I can. And it was a compliment. And I always forget that because I get stuck on how much I hate some of the things that I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I manage a team. I help people. And I know I'm good at it, but just because you're good at something doesn't mean you want to do it all the time.
Right. Exactly.
Somebody said to me, you should have been a therapist. Like, you're an amazing therapist. Like, you always get us motivated and help us. And I'm like, you could not pay me enough money to sit down and listen to people's crap that I don't care about.
Oh, that's funny.
But, okay. All right, Rick. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure, as always.
Always a blessing. And what are we doing next week?
I was just thinking the same thing.
I don't know. You know what's so great, though? We are going to have that collab show with Ted Hicks and Late Night Parents. But that should be fun. There's going to be I think 9 of us on screen.
That's not to be missed. I'm just saying. That's going to be really fun.
I'm going to be quiet because it's going to be too many people. And it ain't going to be my show. So it's going to be on Ted's show. But yeah, that should be fun. All right, everyone. Remember, it's all about the joy. Thank you for stopping by and have a great one. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye, guys. See ya.
Bye. Thanks for stopping by. All about the joy. Be better and stay beautiful, folks. Have a sweet day.